Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So I'm doing something slightly different here. I'm actually showing you just a half completed blanket. I'm making a pram topper with this stitch. It's a crochet stitch, but I had to show you how to do this because this is absolutely amazing. This is a treble crochet and it's twisted in a manner that makes it like a honeycomb. Look at that, look at that. It's like a 3D stitch. Anything that sort of sticks up and is not flat is like gets classed as a 3D stitch. But it's really, really light. It's as light as a feather and it's really, really soft. Now I'm using a majestic Aran. It's not twisted in the manner that it normally is. It looks as if it's actually a little crocheted strand, the way that it's actually done. But it's lovely. Look at that. It's really pretty. It doesn't have a name. It's just got a lot number, and that's the lot number there. It is BD5 ODT, and it's a majestic Aran. It's just a mixed fibre one. It's 100 grams, and I'm going to show you how to do this. It is quite easy. It's a little fiddly, but it is quite easy. So I'm going to show you how to do this little 3D blanket. It's a brilliant stitch. It makes your blanket look as if it's about 1.5 inches thick, but it's quite cool as well because of the way it's crocheted. Now you need to do it in sets of 3. Do your chains in sets of 3 because you need 3 to do the pattern in the foundation row. So I'm going to do my chain in sets of 3. I'm going to do enough for a little baby pram. I want to do a baby pram blanket. That's a baby stroller if you're in the USA. And it'll also fit a little car seat as well if you want it for that. So I'm going to continue doing my chain in sets of 3. You do your chain in the length that you want your blanket to be, whether it's a small blanket for a young child or a great big blanket for your bed or a throw for or an afghan for yourself. Do your chain as long as you need it, but do it in sets of 3 stitches. My nail polish is almost the same colour as my hook today. So what you're going to do is, what I do is, I like a nice straight edge on my foundation row. So I turn my chain this way. Can you see all those little lines running along? These are the stitches that we're going to pick up. We're going to pick up these long lines that are here. And that'll make the bottom of your blanket nice and straight, and you'll have a really nice edge. So I'm going to treble crochet. That's a double crochet if you're in the USA. I'm going to treble crochet all the way to the end. I'm going to go into the 4th stitch in my hook. So yarn over, and 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going through this little line here. Can you see that little line? Just there, that little stitch. Like that. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, through 2 loops and through 2 loops. So your chain, the 3 stitches that you miss, becomes your first stitch, and that's your second stitch, and it should all have this nice edge on the bottom. So make sure you're turning your chain and you're going into those little lines. So yarn over, through your stitch, yarn over, through the next one. So we're going to treble crochet all the way to the end. If you're in the USA, that's a double crochet. Double crochet all the way to the end of your row. I've done my foundation row. I've made sure I've kept it to sets of 3 stitches. So first of all, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm using a 5.5mm hook. My yarn, this Majestic yarn, is quite thick and it'll be a nice chunky little blanket. You can use whatever yarn you want. So turn your work and into the next stitch, not this one, not that one, into this stitch here and this stitch here, we're going to put a treble crochet. That's a double crochet in the USA and other countries. So that's your chain, that's classed as your first stitch. So we've got 3 treble crochets and we're going to make sure we've got 3 treble crochets at the end as well. So now you're going to chain 2, 1, 2. Remember that chain 2, it's important that you do a chain 2. Skip 2 stitches, 1, 2. So into this third stitch you're going to put 3 treble crochets. If you're in another country, that's 3 double crochets into this stitch. If you're in the UK, then it's 3 treble crochets. So that's 1, all into the same space, into the same stitch, 2 and 3. Chain 2, 1, 2, skip 2, 1, 2, into this one, put another 3 treble crochets or 3 double crochets if you're in another country. 2, it's my third one. Chain 2, 1 and 2. Skip 2, 1, 2, into the third one, 3 treble crochet all into the same stitch. Chain 2, skip 2 and 3 trebles into the same stitch all the way along. My last treble, I'm going to chain 2, I'm going to skip 2 stitches, then I'm going to put 3 treble crochets in here. 1, 2 and 1 into this top stitch here. And that's me got my 3 treble crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and now this is the row we're going to continue to repeat, row after row after row. So you're going to chain 3 and turn. You're going to treble crochet into these 2 stitches, 1 and 1 into the next stitch. Chain 2, 1, 2. Now we're going to go in to this stitch here around this post, but we're going to go this way like this, and we're going to put 3 treble crochets around this post. This is what's going to turn it into a 3D effect. So into this first one we're going through the back, wrap your yarn around and go around that post. It might be easier to turn your work this way, through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, another 2 into that same stitch around that post. So we're doing this 3 times, putting 3 treble crochets around that post. Now chain 2, 1 and 2, we'll always be chaining 2. Move along to your next set, and again we're going to be working, put your yarn around, and we're going to work around the back of that stitch. Pull your yarn through yarn over through 2 loops, yarn over through 2 loops, and put 2 more treble crochets around that post, and 2. You can see it's pulling your crochet. It's making it look twisted. Don't worry about it. That's the way it's supposed to look. Chain 2, 1, 2, go to your next set. So we've done that set there. We're going to this set and we're taking that one. So yarn over and around the back. So it might be easier just to turn it and pinch it. Put 3 treble crochets around that post. That's 2 and 3. Chain 2, 1, 2, and move to your next one. So this blue one's my next one. So sort of turn it this way, yarn over, and you're going behind the stitch. This is the front and we're working at the back. So it's easier just to squish it down. 1, this is my second treble crochet, and my third treble crochet. Chain 2, 1, 2, move to the next one, do the same. I've found it much easier just to fold it like this. 1, 2, and 3. Now don't look at it just now because it looks all twisted, and it's making, this is how thick it makes your blanket. Chain 2, 1, 2, move to the next set of your 3 trebles that are in that set there. Around the back of that post, we're working around the post. That's 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2, 1, and 2. Move to the next set. So that's your 3 treble crochets, and we're working around the post, not in the stitches and not in the space. You're doing your yarn over and going that way and that way. Just pinch it and pull your yarn through, yarn over through 2 loops and through 2 loops, yarn over. So do your 3 treble crochet, that's 2, and that's my third one. Chain 2, 1, and 2, and I'm going to move, oh that's my last one. So what we're going to do now is, even though we've chained our 2, we're going up here and we're going to do our 3 treble crochet. So yarn over, we're going to skip these stitches and go into the top of your 3 at the edge. This keeps the edge of your blanket nice and neat. So we're doing your treble crochets in the normal manner. Now you might think, my goodness, what have you done, Alison? But this is the way it looks. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now we're just going to repeat that previous round. Put a treble crochet in the top of this one and a treble crochet in the top of this one. Don't go right into that edge. Go to your next stitch. To the top of that one. So we're going to chain 2, 1, and 2. Now your little cluster's twisted, but that doesn't matter. The way we're going to do it is like a little set of ladders. We're going to grab that first post of that set. It's the same stitch again. So you're going to take that first one from that. So you're going to put your yarn over, make sure you've done your chain 2, and you're going to go around the post of that cluster there. It's better if you just nip it and hold on to it. So you're working around that post again. We're putting 3 treble crochets, 1, 2 and 3. Chain 2, 1 and 2, and move to the next one. Do the same. It's easier if you fold that chain over. Yarn over, and there's your stitch there, and pull through, and we're doing 3 treble crochets and around the post of that one. Chain 2, 1, 2. This is what makes the 3D effect like that, because we're working along the tops of these stitches. It's much easier to see it like this if you look at it from the top. This is the stitch that we're working in. We're working into the top of these stitches. So I found that when you're doing this, it's much easier just to hold it this way and work in to the top of this stitch. That's your set of 3 that you did on the last row. You'll get the hang of it. It looks a little bit messy, but once you've got it round, it's really pretty. It's really pretty. So yarn over, I've done my 2, I've done my chain of 2. So I found it much easier just to work along the top of your work like this, like a ladder. So yarn over, and we're going into that top stitch there, that stitch into the back of it. 1, 2 and 3. Remember your chain 2, 1, 2. Now just move along your work, and then just grab that post. I'll show you again. It just looks a little fiddly because I'm trying to show you what to do. So that's your stitch there, and the next one is there. It's like a ladder. Your next one is there, like that. And that's your last one that's there. So we're working around, just pretend it's a ladder, around this stitch here. So put your yarn over, make sure you've done your chain 2, put your hook through that stitch, and do your 3 treble crochets around the post. All our little twisted parts, and we're going to put a treble crochet into each of these 3 stitches. So treble crochet into the top of this one. This is the edge of your blanket. 1, 2 and 1 into that top of that chain of 3 that we did. So you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3 and turn. And I need to put 1 treble crochet in this stitch, 1 treble crochet in this stitch. Make sure I catch all that stitch. One treble crochet to that one. So the chain counts as your first treble, and you've got 2 treble crochets. Now chain 2, 1, 2. Remember that chain 2. Now slightly turn your work and you're going into the back of that stitch. Just pinch it with your fingers and work around that post, and make sure your first stitch goes down to the bottom. So that's one. Make sure it goes down to the bottom. Then 2 and 3. Chain 2, 1, 2. To do our 3 treble crochets in the top of these ones here. 1, 2 and 3 into the top of that chain of 3. There we go. Now that is your repeat, what I've showed you, and look at that, nice and stretchy, and look how thick it looks. It's a lovely blanket. This is this side. Some people, once they've made it, they have it like this on their blanket or their bed so that you can see that really nice honeycomb effect on it. Now just bear with it. Even though it looks like a tangle, it's not. It's really pretty and it's really soft. I'm going to show you just quickly in this sample. This stitch is really pretty in a single coloured yarn as well. I'm going to show you quickly how to finish the top of the blanket. Now I've chained 3, so let's just pretend we've finished doing the blanket and I want to do my last row. Now I'm going to do a treble crochet into these 2 stitches, and this is keeping the side of my blanket with a nice edge on it. And I'm going to do that, put 1 treble crochet in there and 1 in this stitch. Now if you're in another country other than the UK, this is called a double crochet. Now into this chain space, this hole here, 1 into the space. So I've got my 3 there and I've got 1 in that space. So I'll show you what it looks like with 1 in the first stitch of your treble, 1 in the top, that's the 3rd stitch in that cluster, 1 in the space, and then 1 into that first stitch there and 1 into that stitch there. As long as you do it spaced out evenly and you're not putting too many treble crochets, that looks pretty neat that way. So 1 into the space, 1 in, that's my little cluster, 1 into the top of the first stitch in that cluster, 1 treble into the 3rd stitch in that cluster there, 1 into the space, and 1 into there, 1 into that one, and 1 into this space. Oh, my roll's falling down. So that looks pretty neat, like the bottom, and that's how you finish the top of the blanket. Or you can put 2 into the space and 1 into the middle of the cluster, and 2 into the space and 1 into the middle of the cluster. It's up to you, as long as you evenly space your stitches along the top. That's how you finish that 3D honeycomb stitch. So it goes from this on the top to this, just that nice stitch along. As long as it's not too wide, you don't want the top of it to go like that. If you put too many stitches along the top, your blanket will end up like that. You don't want it. You want it to stay nice and even on the bottom and on the top. So give this a try. Use any yarn that you have. So thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe. Just click on that subscribe button and subscribe to my channel. It's free to subscribe to the channel. Also, if you click on the bell icon, you'll get notified when I post another tutorial. So until the next time, happy crafting, and I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.